Hey guys, we're going to do some Bastion design today. That looks like I'm coming through okay. So let me go ahead and let me make this sit here proper. That sound volume is out again. There we go. That should be okay. We'll see if we have any trouble with it moving forward. Blip, 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 blip. Blup. I'm going to do some social media posting here real quick just to ramp into this. I'll go through an intro here in a hot second once I've got my my rhythm going here. And so we've been building this supplement called Bastion Campaigns, and it's kind of a love letter to the old Dominion style of play from Beckme 1st, 2nd edition, where characters accumulate power, acquire property, and then build a kingdom or a domain from there, kind of as a representation of just the expansion of your agency in the campaign world, of starting off by being shoved around and ending the campaign with basically rebuilding the fabric of reality with your 20th level power. So that's what the Bastion campaign system is designed to do. It does it by converting the 2024 DMG Bastion system from a social interaction into an exploration challenges, where when you issue orders for the Bastion to do something, whatever you order them to do, it comes with a D20 test, and the D20 test measures not whether you succeed or not, but whether you can succeed with what you currently have, or if you run into any complications that prevent you from completing the task. It's not ruined, it's just delayed until you can find a solution. If this is something that your team finds intriguing and wants to pursue themselves as a plot hook, it becomes an episodic adventure generator, so that every week you're issuing orders to your Bastion, and whenever complications arise, you resolve what those complications are. If you want to see episode 18 from over the weekend, just before this one, we do basically I go through my campaign, my Eberron Spelljammer campaign, where they are running an asteroid belt mining operation, and you can see how I'm going through the process of creating potential complications if they fail their D20 tests in performing the operations of their Bastion. And if they don't want to, so they basically, a slew of complications arise. They choose which one they think is most interesting. The DM then turns it into an adventure, and it's episodic. If you have a week-long Bastion, then the adventure will be contained within that week of time. If you resolve the adventure, then you clear the obstacle and the Bastion completes the task or stays on course for completing the task. If the players decide that doesn't sound like something we want to invest our time in, we'd rather do this other thing, then you can relegate resolving that complication as a secondary, basically like a reroll, basically, if you can, but using a different sort of order. Like if the problem was you're trying to say recruit a Sphinx to become a sage in your Bastion, and the Sphinx isn't compelled by your offers, you can't make another recruitment-based check to get them on board anyway. You'd have to use a different sort of order, like maybe it would be crafting, like you have to build something, or empowering, like you have to invest power into it, or it could be like maintain, like you're going to guarantee it like a lifestyle status that it can sustain, and if you can succeed the die roll with this secondary effect, then I'll be like, oh, okay, great. Well, then you resolve what I need, but then you just committed your Bastion to maybe additional resources or tasks that they'll have to resolve as orders that maybe you weren't planning on if the Sphinx was just happy to come along. Or you make a quest out of it. Sphinx needs X, Y, and Z. That's my fetch quest. Let's go get X, Y, and Z. When we have them, the Sphinx will automatically come on board, so you get whatever loot you got from that adventure. Then you also get your Sphinx, and you've locked them in because you've given them what they want. So it's a progressive style of randomly generating a campaign based on whether your Bastion is capable of exceeding its die rolls or not. That's the theme of how it goes. This is a piece of art from the Ravnica book that I made, the 5-color mana spell point variant rule system that's on the DMsGuild. And so I've cleared my plate of my tasks. And if you're interested in this kind of stuff, like, subscribe, bell icon, notifications. Here's the full playlist of all this is the full live stream playlist of these episodes and the system that I was developing before the Bastion system existed. Now that the Bastions are here, we're just swapping over. Here's a playtest document. This is a Google Doc. It's read-only, so you can look, don't touch. But this is literally the document that we go into every time we develop here. And we're just going to keep on keeping on with our tasks at hand. And hey, Steve, how you doing, my guy? Earlier this morning when I was doing Eberron artwork for the adventure we're publishing, my camera froze. And I think some of my USB ports are starting to break down. Luckily, I have so many USB ports, I can just switch it over. But once I figured that out, it seems like we're smooth sailing. We'll see. So when we last left off, and that we're continuing now, was looking at all of the different facilities that exist inside the DMG. There's a total of special facilities. There's 29 different special facilities that exist in the game, and they provide you incredibly specific features. Like you can create like a type, like maybe one of 6 type of potions, as opposed to like having a laboratory that can just produce potions, and you decide which ones they are based on how powerful your Bastion is. You can have higher rarities of magic items like potions that you can create. So we're going through the process of breaking down we already broke down every item in the player's handbook in the DMG into its rarity scale. Common are up to 100 gold, uncommon are 400, 4,000 for rare, 40,000 for very rare, 200,000 plus for legendary objects, and no one can create artifacts. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And I always scale things on half casting, 1st through 5th rank. So as your facility gains higher ranks, you can produce items of higher scale rarity. We've broken down what type of materials are generally involved with that. So if you have a trade or harvesting operation that can gather materials for you, then you can, if you make your die roll, you can, if you have like a storehouse with these type of materials in it, then if you roll a complication that says you don't have the proper materials that you need to complete this task, that storehouse facility basically becomes like a counter spell. Like, oh, there was going to be a complication. Well, it just so happens that we had already invested in a storehouse that says if you're attempting to, like, I put 3 points into it. So that says that if I have a complication about having the materials that I need for a rare magic item or less, it says that I have materials that I need. But like if you run into like say a recruit issue, then if it's an empowering task like to make a magic item and then the issue is crafting, it might be you don't have the materials. But it could also be you don't have the plans necessary to make that magic item. If you have like say an artificer on hand, it could be like hold my beer, I'm going to go whip up new plans so we can make that happen. But if you don't have an artificer, you could use research in your archives or whatever resources you have devoted to research to find the plans that you need. That becomes your secondary die roll to resolve the task. Or if the player's like, oh, that'd be a fun adventure to go on to get those plans, well, there's an ancient temple that was known for their temple warriors used this kind of a magic item in defense of their territory. So if you go to that temple, you can probably find evidence about how they created that. So the loot that you gain from that temple is whatever you get at the temple, but the prize is researching that place and like the hieroglyphs and stuff, learn how they made that magic item so you have the plans to then go back inside that week and say, here's the plans, begin process, and then your Bastion can complete creating that magic item as intended, like as one example. And then you have to have different types of facilities to create different types of items. And these are all the mundane things. We've gone through this over the past couple episodes. And then we go through like the different types of kits, tools that you need. Tools are generally used for characters making things on the road. We need some pythons. Well, I keep some iron on hand. I can whittle this down overnight or whatever. There you go. But if you have a facility, like a workshop that can, like a shipwright facility that can build boats, you don't need to worry about, like, do I have carpenter tools or not? It's like, no, I've got a 30,000 square foot facility here. It's vast. It can create boats. I've got to hammer some nails already. Don't worry about it. Like the facility overrides the need for a specific tool. Tools are there for characters to make shit on the road. Facilities are for your bastions to make stuff at home. Difference in the equation. And then when you get the magic items, again, you have to, these are the type of facilities that you need to make, where is it at? Down here is different magic items. Poisons, we have a list of poisons here and the different types of stuff that you need to do that. Here you go, magic items, as well as like charms, for instance. So here's the different facilities. So we're going through all the facilities. Let's skip past these other orders for now, because once we have all our facilities built, we'll have a better understanding of how we want to like break down, for crafting, for instance. Do I need a separate order to make weapons from an order to make shields? Do I need a separate order to create ball bearings versus a coffin? Or can it just be a crafting order, and as long as you have the facilities, there you go. That could simplify what the facilities are doing, and then we can utilize, like we've been creating like these feat sort of effects. Like if you invest points into this bastion, into this facility, you're able to do more and more things. Kind of like if you could be proficient with a polearm, but if you take polearm master, you can now do all the PAM stuff that you can do with the weapon when you're using it. Facilities are kind of that same idea. So what's up, Francois? So let's see, where were we at when we left off? We've got this page here. I think all my tabs reset. Fuck all. Yeah, my tabs all reset. So I'm gonna grab this one, and let's go down to the bottom where we have the breakdown of what the DMG already provides for us. For the most part, we'll check in on it. And let's take this tab and put it on our list of orders that the facilities are capable of performing. That's here. And then let's go to our list of loot here. That's generally all we need. And I can afford to get rid of that one. Okay, cool. So there we go. Let's see, when we left off, I've got about an hour from now, so let's put an hour on the clock and let's get kicking. So we did the barracks. After the barracks, we had to jump to the observatory. Like here, like this is a good example of that. You have the empower ability to create divine or arcane charms. Charms are generally either spells or potion effects that you can place on the character that generally have one use and then they're gone. So if depending on the number of points or ranks that you've put into your observatory, that will determine the rarity of item, potion, or spell that you can place onto the character. So you can't have 5 ranks in your observatory until you're a 5th rank facility. So you can either have a facility gain ranks that correspond with your character's proficiency bonus gains if you just want to have them lockstep, or if you really want to dive into a campaign model where the Bastion is the most important thing and you have multiple groups of characters performing different tasks for the Bastion, you just choose which team do you want to trigger this week to perform a task for you. And you can build specialized teams. Like at my home table, we have espionage teams, we have dungeon delving teams, we have embassy diplomats, and we have mecha fighter pilots. It's Spelljammer. So we're using my Spelljammer combat mechanics for the fighter craft. So we have a fighter craft like an X-Wing squadron team that chases down monsters and pirates and stuff in space. So the team has 4 teams right now. Actually, their espionage team is currently out of commission. So they have 3 teams right now. Diplomats, fighter pilots, and dungeon delvers to go inside of rocks. So you can have multiple parties that are operating in different spaces. And if there's multiple complications happening right now that it's like, oh, we want to do both of those. Like, well, cool. We'll do one first, and then we'll do the other one next, but they'll be happening in the game world at the same time, and they'll both resolve inside of the week. So if you wanted to extend your play, as if you're enjoying this moment as players, then you can throw in extra teams to perform different tasks. It's up to you how many teams you want to have running at the same time. If you want to use a large bastion with many orders overseeing a West March campaign, then you can just have a set of orders that have been issued to the Bastion and what complications arise. And if a team decides, hey, we want to chase after that complication, let's do it on Thursday night, then you can put a check mark next to that complication. If no one claims any other complication, during that week, then the Bastion itself will resolve, and that could be a public event amongst everybody on the Discord server or whatever. And whatever teams decided to pursue it, those become the adventures. When those resolve, then all the Bastion turns update, and now we present a new set of complications for the Bastion that progresses. You could have people that are like specifically involved as a council, like all they want to play is advancing the Bastion. That's awesome. Let them do the Bastion roles. If you have people that specifically want to play dungeon delves, well, whenever a delving mission comes up, then they can queue up and run that team. If you have people that are specifically interested, in my instance, of running Spelljammer combat scenarios, then when pirates or space monsters are around and threatening your miners, that can trigger a fighter pilot scenario. So you can go out and you have like maybe a one-shot or a couple episodes of just doing some squadron combat maneuvering and stuff. And as you gain ranks, you can have larger, like you can eventually have like a carrier ship. You can set up like a separate naval base out in deep orbit, so you have a jump point to get to different points inside of your system. You can really go deep with it. However deep the players want to go with it. This book is designed to let you keep step with how far down the road they want to go with that idea, or it's all just resolved with single die rolls. Like if you can issue 3 orders and you had a complication, you just do a second roll to see if you hit it or not. If you fail the die roll, then it's just delayed and you have to try again the following turn. You'll eventually get it. You're not supposed to be stopping the players from getting things. You're supposed to be creating a kind of like when you're playing with your dog, right? Your dog runs up to you and it's not that he doesn't want to give you the rope with knots in it. It's that he wants to wrestle with you. And the only way that dogs know how to wrestle is to grab things and jerk it around with their mouth, right? So you're challenging and creating resistance for your dog because it loves to wrestle, and this is how it does that. So as a DM, it's your job to be able to grab whatever the players want to latch onto and pull at it so that you create resistance so they get to decide, I really want this. And then when they own it and they take command of it, they feel they have agency by protecting that, and they take more emotional ownership of it. And that, honestly, that just makes them like the campaign more. So you don't want to take things from people. You want to make them have to fight to have it, to prove that it's really interesting to them. If the juice isn't worth the squeeze, they'll let it go. And they'll just give it to the Bastion, and the Bastion will resolve it in a die roll, and you carry on. But like my team keeps doing dungeon delves because they love to dungeon delve. So they've done other types of adventure, but they just keep, anytime there's an excuse to go delve a dungeon, it's like, yeah, let's go hit that asteroid. It's like, build another team, let's go. The guys are great. I love it. Anyway, I'm rambling because I had my update yesterday, and they've decided to do another dungeon delve. So anyway, okay, so sorry, back on task. Let's see, the facilities, we got through the barracks. Now, oh yeah, the demiplane. Okay, now we're looking at the demiplane. So let's grab the barracks. We're gonna go here. We're gonna retitle it demiplane. And I know we have demiplanes listed down here. Let's go fetch it. It might be broken off into a separate section. Garden, arcane study, that's our scrap pile. Let's go up here. Oh yeah, this is the 4th tab that we need. I see it now. Copy, paste, pop. Let's grab that and drag this over. I'll be back tomorrow doing this as well, and I'll be here Thursday night doing this. I'll be here Saturday morning doing this. Tomorrow morning through Friday morning, we'll be working on our Eberron artwork. Here we go. Yeah, like a spy network. That was one of the ideas that we were putting together for a facility. Maybe it would warrant its own thing, maybe not. It could. So like these are the different, like once we fill out the actual facilities that exist inside the DMG, we'll be able to see like spy network might be a really cool thing to have. So, or like a safe house, for instance, that could be a facility. Stuff like that. So we'll see what's out there. But I think we go up to empower. I think that's where we have the demiplane at. Yeah, here it is. So this is the stuff that we have for demiplane, and we'll eventually delete all of this once it all melts away. So I'm gonna hit a space here. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I know how to do this. Let's see, increases. Hey, what's up, Domo? It's good to see you, my guy. Click over to here. here. Let's see. The demi-plane is craft, empower, harvest. Yeah. Increase the craft. That's too loud. Sorry. Let me fix that volume. There. That should be better now. Let's see. The demi-plane is craft, empower, harvest. So let's grab that. Increase the rank in 1 order. There we go. So you could technically have 15 points put into a demi-plane. And so it would have 5 points in crafting, so you could make pretty much anything inside of it. You could have 5 ranks of empower, which means you can create any kind of magic item inside of it. And you put 5 ranks of harvest into it, so you can harvest basically any type of material there. Here's the thing about the demi-plane. When you create a demi-plane, you can create any kind of demi-plane that you want, any kind of physics, anything that's inside of it that you want. It just can't leave the demi-plane. So you can, if you bring materials into the demi-plane, which you have to bring in materials anyway to craft stuff, you can have a time dilation chamber that allows you to make stuff faster or to grow things faster than they would normally be able to do so, because you're working on a different time stream. So you can go in and then come out and you've effectively reduced the amount of time that it takes to create your stuff. So like if it would normally take a season, a demi-plane could reduce it down to a month. If it would take a month, you can reduce it down to a week. If it would take a week, you can reduce it to a day. If it would take a day, you can reduce it down to 8 hours. So you have a scale there, but you can't have access to this until 5th rank. So let's see. There we go. Crafting 5 equals, hold on, craft 1 to 5, crafting, empowering, acquiring. There, we can make an adjective, an adverb out of those. Recruit equals, you recruit, blah, blah, blah. So he says, like here, barracks, like recruit 1 to 5. You can recruit fighting forces of soldiers. So first rank, you can get up to 10 of them. It's 2, 40, there you go. The same way, this starts at crafting 5. So that technically means it has a prerequisite of 5th rank. So if you have 5 points put into crafting, let's see, how does it read? Reduce the time to craft an item by 1 degree. Crafting, empowering, 5 equals craft 5 equals, and then harvest 5 equals, hold on, that's not the right way to do this. 1, that's the way to do it. Demi-plane requires 5th rank. Prerequisite 5th rank. Bastion. Increase the rank in 1 order. Craft, empower, harvest. Craft. So we only need 1 point put into the demi-plane. Increase the rank in 1 order. Oh, there we go. Craft 1 to 5. Empower 1 to 5. I think this is going to be the right way to do this. Harvest 1 to 5. Equals reduce the time to harvest materials created in the demi-plane by 1 degree. Reduce the time to harvest materials of equal or lower rank in the demi-plane by 1 degree. Like you can plant crops and raise animals there. I don't think it'd be realistic for you to be able to have like you can't mine inside the harvest inside of the demi plane, because I don't think it'd be realistic like to wish up a structure full of gold that you just slowly dig off pieces of gold. That just feels a little broken. But you could have soil in there that's proper for you to grow corn in, or, you know, cotton, so you can make padded armor, for instance. That feels realistic. Reduce the time to harvest animal and plant materials grown of a rank equal or lower than the demi plane grown within. That's probably not the right language, but something like that. So if you're making it inside of there, it's going to grow faster because it has a different time frame. Lower by the demi plane by 1 degree, as indicated on the table below. And this is why we hire editors, to make sure that the words sound smart when we finish it. Right now, all we got to do is make sure that it's a good idea, and we'll figure out the right way to say it when we hire someone smart enough to tell me what's the right way to say it. So, God bless you, editors. You're all worth your weight in gold. Craft equals reduce the time to craft items within the demi plane of a rank equal to or lower. Craft items of a rank equal to or lower than the demi plane by 1 degree, as okay, that'll work. Empower, reduce the time to empower an item within power an item of a rank equal or lower than the demi plane by 1 degree, as indicated on the table below. So let's see. Let's see. Normal. Let's go with time to complete. This is not the right way to word it, but we'll just go with it for now. Normal, and then demi-plane. 1 year, 1 season, 1 season, 1 month, 1 month, 1 week, 1 week, 1 day, 1 day, 8 hours, up to 3 per day. We'll put an asterisk there so I can keep the table small. Bling. There, that should work. And blip. I was playing with research ideas in there, but I think I'm just going to nip that out of simplicity. Just make this a, how to say, make this a means for high-level characters to get access to reasonable magic items for their level. You can't get access to this typically until 5th rank, which means typically around 17th level, which means you're an in-game in your campaign. So if your team needs or wants to handle a problem with a specific type of rare magic item, we know from the crafting rules that rare magic item when we get up into the crafting, the empower action. That's what we want to look at. Empowering. In this instance, we're looking at scribing scrolls. So the rarity. Neat. Let's find a better example. Here we go. The rarity of a magic item determines the duration of time needed to create it. Common, uncommon, rare, very rare, legendary, a week, a season, or a year. So using the demi-plane, we'd be able to reduce the legendary magic item down to a single season instead of a year. A very rare or rare item can be reduced from a season down to, let's see, actually, yeah, we actually adjusted that because we have week, month, season, and year now. Hey, good that we revisited this. I'm happy with a legendary action taking only a legendary magic item only taking a season. That feels very reasonable to me. But that might require us to retool all the things. Yeah. Week, month, season, year feels pretty, because that's all scaling up by 3 or 4 a pop. That feels pretty good. And there's a big difference from like a day to a week. So week, month, season, year, that feels really good. We can go week, month, season, year. Can we go week, month, season? No, I'm good with this. Week, month, year. Right. You can't make uncommon magic items until you have second rank, but once you do, you can make either of them in a week. I'm happy with that. Third rank facility. You have to have third rank facility to make a rare magic item for a month, but you could make an uncommon or a common magic item once per week as well. So, okay, I think that's going to track. So, like I said, work in progress. We're making changes as we need. But I think that resolves, that's enough for the demi-plane for now. I think I'm happy with that. Prerequisite, does the barracks have a prereq? No, if it comes in at first level, it does not have a prereq. What about the archive? Did the archive have a prereq? Archive had a second rank prereq. Did we decide to do with it? Archive, arcane studies, good. Where's my archive? There it is. Empower 1 to 5. Yeah, let's put down a prereq for that. Prereq, second rank Bastion. So once we get to a second rank Bastion, we can start putting 1 or more points into the archive to expand that. The demi-plane, once we gain 5th rank, we can put 1 or more points into the demi-plane. What else did we have up here? We were also looking at a guild hall being second rank. That just makes sense. Barracks being second rank. I think that makes sense. I'm happy with barracks being second rank. Prereq. Weird. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm okay with demi-plane. So let's move on to the next. Gaming hall. Man, playtesting last night kicked ass. A lot of fun. We had a new player on board with us. There was only 2 of us. I normally like to play with 3 or more, but the energy just felt good. So and I really just wanted to kick around. So they dealt with a threat that would have been, it was a deadly threat for the 2 characters. It would have been a moderate threat for a party of 4, like low and easy, moderate level. But they almost got killed, but they had some clutch tactics and were able to pull themselves out of it. And they were able to push further into the dungeon before having to bail. So good times. Good times had by all. God, I love mega dungeons. They're so cool. Let's go. I think we have stuff for the armory down here already. Trade to acquire ammunitions, blah, blah, blah. So it starts off as trade. And was there anything other? Yeah, the armory is really simple. Okay, so we already have rules in place for the armory that it is crafting, empowering, and trade armaments specifically, like armor, weapons, bloody bloss. Armor and orders, craft, empower, and trade. Craft 1 to 5, empower 1 to 5 equals, and trade 1 to 5 equals. Ooh. I'm having thoughts. Let's see. How do we do? Wait, why am I looking at the armory again when I have it already? Increase the craft 1 to 5, crafting non-magical items, trade, acquire non-magical stuff. How did I have an armory again? Did I just have that out of order? Something went wonky. Yeah, I'm down here on Gaming Hall. Come on, Kearney. Maintain and trade. Hey, Fallon, we're doing great, my guy. Well, I think so anyway. Archive, barracks, demiplane. Increase the rank in 1 order. Maintain. It takes a little bit of time to break down every single one of these 29 facilities, but I don't mind the work. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. Maintain and trade. I think we have comments about gaming. Not here. I think it's further up. No, it's further down. Let's see if I can find the gaming hall. I know we were looking at, like, we were reframing or expanding the idea of a gaming hall. As it's written, it's like a poker house. It's like poker tables or whatever. And it could be anywhere from like a back room in the back of the bar, or it could be a full casino. But let's see, checking real quick. Hold on. Snake Jazz. Oh, that's what we want. It's up in the theoretical facilities. Hold on, let's go there. And I'll find it here real quick. Hold on, maybe not so quick. Settlements, we'll talk about that later. Research, spy network, love it. Oracle, maybe. Standing army, I think that's been resolved by the barracks. Specialty retainer, I think we're resolving that with the guild hall. Governorship is a meta idea involving taking over facilities by basically taking over the government and making them a puppet. So like if you wanted to take over Waterdeep, you'd have to have a 5th rank bastion to do it, and you'd have to have 5 ranks invested into governorship as a meta facility, right? Then you can have your bastion take command of that settlement. Or you can have a franchise where your bastion is basically creating subsidiary bastions that can add to the amount of orders that you can take equal to the rank of what those subsidiaries are. And if those subsidiaries ever equal or exceed your rank, they basically break off and gain independence. And then you lose access to some of that facility and they become a rival. So you have to contain the level of your subsidiary bastions grow if you decide to franchise like that. Diverse net workforce that gets eaten by Guildhall, I think. Maintain lifestyle. We don't have to worry about that right now. Come on, man. Where are you at? Specialist, empower, recruit, empower. I know I have it down in here. Crafting storehouse. We'll get to that eventually. Empower. It was a maintain task, I'm sure. Diverse workforce. Efficient. Is it efficient operations? You can issue additional orders. That was an idea. Franchise. Where'd you go, dude? Specialist retainer. Oracle, spy network, research, trade. Oh, fudge. It was under, yeah, this is all really disorganized still. I feel kind of bad about that. Let's see. There's empower. Harvest. Maintain. Come on, buddy. Auction resources. So you can sell off your resources for gold, but that's not a gaming hall thing. Bastion lifestyle. Gaining resources by scraping them off of others. Your Bastion reinvests its resources to gain. I'm not finding it here. All right. Well, I'm going to shut up because I'm wasting time now. So let's check out what the gaming hall is supposed to do for us, and then we can get after it. Gaming hall. What's it supposed to be doing? Trade. So a gaming hall offers recreation activities like chess and games of darts, cards, dice. Gambling hall. When you issue the trade order to this facility, the facility's hirelings turn the gaming hall into a gaming den for 7 days. At the end of the 7th day, you roll a percentile dice to see how much loot you gain. Whatever. Okay, so that's super flimsy. So let's see. Increase the rank of maintain and trade. It has the trade order, so I want to keep that on hand. Let's see. So, gaming hall. So the gaming hall itself, again, okay, so let's go as trade. Let's say invest. No, how do I want to do this? Trade equals my big score. Equals you gain, you win resources. A big gamble pays off, granting a big gamble pays off, winning resources that can be added to your bastion. And let's see. So it'd be the rank of the bastion. Current rank, DC. So it takes bigger and bigger scores. So first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, fifth rank. $10, $15, $20, $25, $30. Okay, so the larger, the higher rank your bastion, the larger or more specialized or more powerful the organization becomes. So each point of resources that you have at higher ranks are worth more. So for you to be able to have a huge windfall gamble, big payoff, it's not that difficult for a mom and shop shoe shop that's worth like maybe 1,000 gold to have a big score in the form of like a giant emerald is put up as a gamble, and you win that emerald, and it's like, say, collateral for a pair of oxen, for instance. Well, I won your oxen in this gambling, so now I have this additional resource that I would sensibly put towards harvesting or perhaps materials for like animal materials, like if I needed leather or something like that. Like a first rank facility, 2 ox, that can make a difference on a 1-acre farm. It could also make a difference if you had an order to make like 15 sets of full armor, padded leather armor. But a 5th rank facility that could have a plantation over 100 miles in size, 2 oxen doesn't mean shit to that place. So while it might only take a DC 10 for you to win that poker hand that's going to give you those 2 ox, they don't matter. The type of big score you need as a 5th rank bastion, this is something like along the lines of, oh God, what could be a gamble like that? Like one of the Lords of Waterdeep has such a huge gambling problem that they offer away the trade rights to the mining operation in the nearby mountain. That's worth 1d4 resources for any facility up to 5th rank. If you're like only a 3rd rank facility, you might not be able to bite off a big enough chunk to take over the entire operation. But as a 5th rank bastion, you might have a large enough operation already that could actually provide the manpower and capabilities of extracting ore from that mountain at a huge level, because your facilities and your resources are vast enough to be able to warrant that. Those D4 resources that you won from the Lord of Waterdeep. It's not so much as raw materials, but now it's actually just, it's the resource is like mining rights. Like you are now the sole proprietor of mining in that mountain. You won those rights, for instance. That's an example. It's still a little rough, but that's the idea that we're going for. Let's see. Maintain, this is out of order. Maintain equals auction resources. Conversely equals you can barter. No, you can use a Bastion resource to win coin. Let's see. Determined by the DC rolled. If it's less than 10 equals lose resource. DC result. So we have 10, and then it's going to cap at 30. Halfway point is going to be 20. It's going to equal. Then we have 15 equals. And then we have 25 equals. Let's say equals keep resource, gain 20% value. Like at first rank, like a first rank Bastion, each resource is worth 100 gold. So if you rolled a 10 on your Bastion check, then you, as a first rank facility or as a first rank Bastion, you would keep your resource and you gain 20% of its value. Each resource is worth 100 gold as listed above. In this instance, that would give you 20 gold cash. So at really low levels, having cash is useful. By the time you get to third, like around 9th or 10th level, pulling gold out of dungeons starts to get a little ridiculous because the amount of experience points that you need to gain a level is massive. And the type of resources you'll have access to starts just to continue to grow in step with it. So at some point, at third rank, each resource is worth 10,000 gold. So if you use your gaming hall to put up one of your points of resources, and if you roll well, then you'll be able to liquidate, like you'll keep that resource. But if you roll that 20%, that would be 2,000 gold that you get. At 9th level, that's not that big of a deal. But sometimes you need cash, and it's not easy to find it. If you have a complication involving the gaming hall, maybe it's like you guys get robbed or some shit. Who knows? We can play with those ideas once we complete these. Like we can create unique complications involving each facility. We have general complications for performing orders, but we could also have complications involving each facility that create even more specialized, unique adventure options. So we can play with that idea as well. KR plus what, 40, 60, 80? Yeah, plus 40%, 60%, 80%. And if you can roll a 30, okay, so, and again, you roll a D20 plus your rank, or rather this is a maintain option. So whatever your rank and maintain is, 1 to 5, it can be a minimum of 1. And once you hit 5 or more resources put into maintaining facilities, it caps at 5. But so you'd roll a D20 plus 5 at 5th rank, and then the number of resources you have invested into, like say maintain, it goes from D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. So at 5th rank, you have 5 resources put into maintaining stuff. Then you would have a D20 plus 5 plus D12, which will be a range of anywhere from 7 to 37. So 25% is going to be likely your average results, giving you an 80% net value at 17th level, there's very little things that you actually need gold for. It's just a convenience at that point. So this makes getting gold convenient at high levels when you need it. And it can come through as being clutch for you when you need it at low levels, but it's risky because you'd only be rolling a D20 plus 1 plus D4 at first rank. You're just as likely to lose the farm as you are to score some magic beans. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a crapshoot there. But that takes care of the 2 tasks that we were looking at for Gaming Hall. And as we continue going along and discovering more things, I had originally thought of this as like a stock market. Like the stock market is just gambling. It's just legal gambling. Let's be honest, right? So a gaming hall could be reframed as a stock exchange. It could be reframed as an auction house, or we could specifically, like we could split off this task here of converting resources. We could split that off as a separate facility, like an actual facility as a auction house, but that might be overly specialized. So I'm thinking the gaming hall makes for a decent catch-all, where instead of auctioning off resources, you're basically putting up your resources as collateral for the bet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm asking your permission a lot by saying, you know what I mean, a lot, which means I'm not very confident in this. And that's true, I'm not, because I'm far less set on like what's the right way to express these different ideas, through facilities that exist or creating new facilities, or is it a modified order, or is the order modified by the facility? These are things that we're breaking down. So I'm thinking that once we actually get through this conversion process that we're playing with here, we'll have a much more clear understanding of which of those 3 paths is the proper path to go on, or is there a way that we can use all of them together? I just don't want to make it too complicated, right? But I also don't want to pigeonhole you into having to have 1,000 different facilities just to do shit. That feels bad too. So, craft, harvest, and maintain. Copy, paste. Get out of here, scallywag. This is going to be garden. Increase the rank in 1 order. Craft, harvest, maintain. Craft, harvest, maintain. Yeah, no, there's nothing specific. Maintain makes sense because maintaining helps with sustaining a specific type of lifestyle. You make a maintain check to see what kind of lifestyle you have for your entire facility, including the people that are in it. We've got another 20 minutes to go. Increase the rank of it, but crafting is you can create. What can we create with crafting? What can we do with a garden? We'll make a really good spreadsheet out of these different categories so it's easy to search stuff in the future, but we're not there yet. So let's see, let's go to the top of the list and start looking for garden. Garden. Brewer supplies. We can make, we can use a garden to help make brewing supplies, like yeast and stuff like that. That makes sense. So crafting. Where else do we see garden? Garden for healer's kit. That makes sense. Herbs and stuff. Rub some ginger on it. You'll be fine. Where is another example of a garden? Garden. Making rations. That makes sense. Perfume. Flowers. That makes sense. So yeah, we have some crafting options. Garden here for food, rations. Yeah. Garden for basic poisons. That's crafting, right. So crafting poison, it's not empowering. Poisons are crafting. So they're non-magical items. And some of the lower end stuff can make basic poison, but you get the more exotic materials, you need a greenhouse for it. What's up? Any animal product? Yeah, maybe you're right. Garden versus pasture. That seems, I mean, a pasture really is just a large garden, right? To that same sense, a plantation is also just a really big garden. But that's potions. We can make potions with a garden, and that's it. Okay, cool. That's pretty simple. So craft equals, how did we word that up in the armory? Crafting equals crafting non-magical. Yeah, real language here. Thank you, Timely Timer. Non-magical stuff requiring animal. I think it would specifically be non-magical stuff. Crafting non-magical stuff requiring plant material. And then we'd have empower 1 to 5 equals empowering potions. Such as food and drink, poison, perfume, basic poison. Empower 1 to 5, empowering potions. Rarity equals rank. And then harvest. I think this is where we might see some difference. So harvest equals provide food. Healer's kit was in there. Antitoxin, I think, was in there as well. Was antitoxins in there? Because if it isn't, it should be. Antitoxin sounds like a garden sort of thing to make. Let's go find out. Where are you at, my list of good? Show me your list. A is for antitoxin. Garden. Hip hop huzzah. Nice. Such as antitoxin, food and drink, perfume, basic poison, healer's kit, etc., as indicated on the crafting, on the creating items chart above. That's mutt language. Empowering potions, rarity equals rank of empowering potions, rarity equals max equals combined power. Nope, empowering potions. That's all we need to have listed there. It's empowering potions, and you have to have a garden to create potions because we have that listed up above. And you don't have to have 5 ranks in a garden to make legendary potions. But you would need to have a combined total number of facilities or points invested into facilities equal to 5 to create legendary items. Garden can be 1 or more. Harvest, provide food for your bastion. Equal, let's go back up and visit size of facilities. That seems important right now, so let's look at that. All right, I'm off the path. Let's get back up in these gear here. We want to stay here. That's important. Settlement. Facilities. We're looking at size of facility. There we go. Size of bastions. There we go. Rank order, total squares, assigned hirelings. Order rank, minimum size of facility. How about we, actually order rank doesn't feel right. Total resources. There. So the number of resources you put into a facility will result in the facility being bigger. If for some reason you can't make a facility vast in size, you either have to find a location that you can, or you have to give up on having that size of a facility. You can also hire specialists so that you don't have to have as large of a space to use that many resources. But that's one of those feat caveats we were talking about, that a guild hall becomes important. Assigned hirelings. So I think the size of the facility. So it's the number of resources that we put into it equals the total number of people in your bastion that can be supported. And that number is weighed in here. So let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it that way. I think this is the way. Let's see. Harvest equals provide food for your bastion. Rank 1. What? Why? How? What? Total resources. Let's go with size of facility. Total fed. So 10, and yeah, this is where we'll put the 10, 40, blah, blah, blah. So let's go to here. And then we have the sizing, which is cramped, roomy, vast. Cramped, roomy, vast. Wait for it. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe we should be doing that instead. Hold on. Let's go with. Instead, let's go with roomy. Minimum size. So it can be bigger. So we're going to require a roomy space for 10. We're going to require a vast size indoor facility to be able to feed 40 people. For us to feed 100 people, let's go look again real quick at our settlements. Minimum population for a first rank settlement is 100 people. Oh, look at that. Look at that. First rank settlement. Second rank settlement can do up to 1,000 people. So if we want to have 400 people, it's more than 100, it's less than 1,000. So we'd have to have a second rank settlement. And then, hey, look at that. It's 4,000 people for the next stage. That would be a 4,000 people. We'd have to have a third rank, or basically a town size settlement with a population of 10K. That's well within curve. It's more than 1,000, less than 10,000. So that puts us inside a third rank settlement. So that is a garden becoming very, very big. Provide animal or plant. Let's go with provide animal and plant resources, materials. To feed and clothe the listed number. Something like that. I think we probably bolt down the language better than that. But I like where that's at. Harvest also. Wait. Number per season. So it'd be a seasonal check to be able to see if you're producing enough food resources for these people. So let's go with DC. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Is that how we want to do that? Yeah, because if the die roll fails, it's not that you can't feed people, it's that there's a complication that's arising that's preventing you from being able to feed those people. So you would need to have, if Waterdeep has a typical standing population of 100,000, then that means you would have to have 25 farms that fit within third rank, which could be up to 50 miles a pop. So if you have 50 miles inside of a 100-mile radius area, basically have a 50-foot, it would be a 100-foot space inside of a 100,000-mile space. You need 25 of them. I'm curious about that. Let's find out. So if we're looking at let's go with a 10 by 10 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by that's a little short. There we go. A 100-mile radius, so let's see, there'd be okay, so a fifth rank facility, Waterdeep has 100,000, and a fifth rank settlement, such as a metropolis like Waterdeep, has a 100-mile radius of area of control around it. So if we have Waterdeep here in the middle, its effective reach would be 100 miles in all direction. It happens to be along the Sword Coast, so it's going to have basically half of its reach area. It's going to lose half of its reach because most of it's going out to sea. But that's far enough away, I think, to hit the Moonshae Islands. So the Moonshae Islands would be exporting goods from those islands to Waterdeep for trade. That's how that would work. But staying land side, if we've got a population of 100K stable and a floating population of 1 million, why do I have a delay? That was goofy. So if this is 100 miles, then this is 10 miles each square. That's a 10 mile. So this is a 10 mile radius area here. And let's see, third rank. 50 mile radius total. Let's see if this math works out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be, oh, that's right. I'm thinking too hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this going to work? That's a 50 mile radius. 100 plus miles. Okay. $10K. Yeah, my math is breaking. Let's see. I should have up to 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 50 mile radius zone point, which would be a town. And a village inside of it would be, that's a village, that's the size of a village, that's the size of a village. Feed and clothe 4,000. Maybe I'm not approaching this the correct way. Even a pig farm has. Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Pig farm, yeah. I don't, let's see. Total resources. All right. I'm going to spend just a few more minutes on this to figure this out. Harvest equals roomy, vast. What's our population count? Okay, this size area is what we had already determined is what you need to be able to sustain a population of this size. That'd be 100 people. So this math is working out here. Roomy for 10 makes sense. Vast for 40 makes sense. 100 people. First rank set. That makes sense. Oh, I just need to switch those numbers. Yeah, that's where the brain break was. There. Maintaining food and housing soldiers is different. I was using the housing soldiers scale to measure the, to be the same as the food value, because we're also looking at, like, in a facility of this size, we could have up to 4,000 troops, but there's also going to be a large non-com population. So the total population, you could, I guess, have a total. No, you couldn't have like 10,000 active fighting troops, because the amount of infrastructure you need to support them, of repair, feed, trade, transport, waste management, all the stuff is more than just the soldier itself that's soldiering. So I think I have a fair talk-off point there. And let's look at our DCs, order, resolution. Harvest equals total resources. I'm trying to think of like an in-building garden. Like in your mansion, you could have a small garden or quote-unquote vast room of a garden, like Topola's Tower has its hanging gardens that it provides food for up to 10 people, but it sits inside of a 20-foot space. So looking again at the roomy tables, what is the size of the roomy space? Total of 9 5-foot squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go look at D&D Beyond. Let's go look at Topola's Tower. And let's go to the Light of Xeraxis. And let's go to Topola's Tower. Here's our map. Each square equals 10 feet. Here's the hanging gardens. See that? It's this way. There we go. So what is this? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50-ish feet overall by 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So that's a 40 foot by 40 foot, probably 40-ish foot radius. Okay. So going back to our map, let's look at Topola's Tower. Maybe this is a waste of time doing all this stuff, but it fascinates me. And if I can figure out the math, I'll be a god. So let's shoot for being a god. So we're looking at 10. 15, 20, 10, 20, 30, 40. Yeah, 40 by 40 foot. It's a 40-foot radius area, and it's roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's basically 4 by 5. Basically like that. So that's 1, 2, 3. It has 4 scaffolds, so it's 4, and that's actually technically times 4. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. 4 by 4. .24 squares. That would be that'd be 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 8 by 8 is 64. That's 126. That would be a vast size facility because it's more than 36 squares. It's double this, so it's technically 128 squares times 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be what? 490, roughly 500 squares of space, which is way better, which is way bigger than this. How does that sit on a settlement size? It's definitely smaller than 2 miles. So what does Xeraxis say about the food capacity for Light of Xeraxis, or for Topola's Tower? Kindori, Second Wind, Jolly Boat, Approaching the Dock, Worms, Autonomes, Tower of the First Floor, Green Shaped Garden. I get regular deliveries from soil from Dolwyn merchants, and they get homegrown food and bird eggs in return. Attached ropes and pulleys. Every 10 feet, bring with luscious fruits. Harness is attached. Orwick 1, Orwick 2. And it doesn't say how many people it would feed. 4 marine active. The gardens are vertical over 10 feet. Bring with luscious. The harnesses are attached to the ropes pulleys. The floor houses a modest kitchen where 2 mechanical gnomes are preparing dinner. Here's my living quarters. Treasure, no. 4, pay no mind, no. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's providing us topo to a quick tower to flower, the box text describe, tower, hall, creature in a window, magical illumination, ceiling and floors, tower features, auto gnomes. I'm looking to see if there's any kind of indication about air or food supply here. Doesn't look like it does. 10-foot long copper pipe. Star map, treasure, obtaining a map, Topola, gizmo. Yeah, doesn't quite track it. So I'm gonna have to let that idea go. But my brain is, I know the math will resolve. I just got to look at it the right direction so I have a consistent model. You're going to be really pissed when you realize whoever created this based it on nothing. I already know that they based it on nothing. Hey, Jonathan, but if I can take what they have and find a way for it to make sense inside of the system, it just helps reinforce that what we're building is good. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not easy making sense of what Wizards does, because Wizards doesn't provide formulas to this stuff because they don't know either. They just eyeball it and just say, don't worry about it. But most of my books answers the question, well, what if I do worry about it? And so far, I've been able to come up with pretty sensible answers. So I'm confident I can come up with a sensible answer for this one as well. It's just I think I'm framing it the wrong way. The way that I'm looking at it is I'm trying to go from indoor to outdoor activity. And I don't think that's the proper way of looking at this. The total number of resources, we should probably be looking at it as maybe like the first 2 ranks is suitable for being indoors. And then just outdoors, we can just switch it to outdoor activity. So let's go back to where we once were. Get that, Loretta. Increase the rank in one order. Craft, empower, harvest. Provide animal and plant materials to feed and clothe. We don't need to see why it's there. I think that's just me overclocking my burden. Provide plant and animal and plant materials. Total resources. Size of facility. If I do it like that, total resources, size of, if we just switch to this, size of settlement, first rank, second rank, okay, so now the question is, am I double dipping? Okay, so this sets it so 100,000 in Waterdeep, for instance, would only need, 100-mile radius to feed 100,000 people. That's probably reasonable. see. Harvest equals provide animal and plant materials.
Harvest equals provide animal and plant materials for crafting. Rank of settlement equals rank of craft. Rank of crafting order. So if I want to issue a 3rd rank crafting order to make like a boat, then I would have to have 3rd rank, which would be a 50-mile area for me to be able to have enough trees to be able to sustain making boats repeatedly. A 50-mile radius forest would have sufficient trees for me to be able to continuously make boats up to, say, 1,000 gold pieces in value, which is like a bunch of keel boats. So I'd be able to continuously churn out keel boats in a plot in a forest of acreage with a 50-mile radius. That feels sensible to me. And then we can also have, let's see, harvest as a separate task. Harvest equals provide food and materials. Let's just go with provide food for settlement population. Because if you have a settlement, it doesn't have to be a food population. It could be like a buffalo ranch. So you have a ton of buffalo on it, and the amount of buffalo on there would be able to provide animal food. But then that would be in conflict to a plantation, which would be plant food or materials, which would be a conflict with the mining operation, which would be harvesting ore from the earth, which would also require a large area, like a massive diamond mine to provide diamonds for the world would be a 5th rank operation. So that would require a huge area. Garden. Am I overclocking what a garden is supposed to do? Should I be separating garden into settlement? Maybe I should be looking at a garden as just being a small facility, like something you can have indoors that you can do potions and stuff like that. But then if we want to start talking about feeding people, that should actually be broken out into the settlement. I think that's how we should actually be doing this. So let's see. Let's go to, let's do it that way. Let's go, instead of having this all under garden, let's put it under settlement. That way we can have a realistic settlement. Harvest equals produce. I think that's the problem. I was trying to make garden. I was overclocking garden. This is an example of where adding a facility, a type of facility, helps keep separated a different type of stuff. Having all this stuff grouped under garden, I think, is overclocking what it should be. A settlement is primarily built to harvest materials. That's why you build houses there, so you can stay and tend to your fields or your herds or the mine. So we'll have to put in language that says a settlements are bastions that develop into communities. Let's see. Generally, the population is determined by the rank of the settlement. Settlements gain an additional order that can be used only to maintain a lifestyle for the community. Because you don't have to necessarily harvest at a settlement, but if you don't, you're going to need to have the stuff provided in. Let's add that caveat. Settlements require harvest or trade orders to one or more resources in harvest or trade can issue orders for harvest, maintain, No, harvest or maintain. Yeah, keep it simple. Keep it simple. This is an instance of where breaking down into smaller tasks I think is benefiting us. Settlements or bastions that develop into community can issue orders for harvest or maintain. What's up? Current bastion fall into the weird spot of when they want to be a settlement but only acts like a home base. Right. But yeah, because it's a small piece of property, but it doesn't really address like dominion over the region where that, because like a bastion could be a pub inside of Waterdeep, or it could be a farm out in the middle of nowhere, or it could be a trade post along a highway that doesn't have anything around it in the next 10 miles or whatever. So yeah, it is in that weird space, and they're trying to bridge that gap by making it just whatever the DM wants. But we're trying to, again, for a DM to have a good ruling, the DM has to have good rules. So you have a framework that says, yeah, this sits inside of this space. Maybe it'd be like a second or maybe a third rank settlement. It's in that space. Let's say it's in a growth cycle right now, so we can call it third rank. Or because of the war nearby, it's eroding, so let's call it second rank, and it's in the process of bleeding off people that are fleeing the region. Like, that's a narrative that you can play with. That's a super niche example. But if you have a framework for DMs to leverage off of, they can either agree at the table or they can use that table to say, well, maybe, but I want to do it this way, like as the exception for this specific circumstance. So good rules require, good rulings require good rules. And the problem with 5e in general is that WotC says, hey, you can just have your DM make a ruling about that to make it work, but they don't provide good rules to leverage those rulings. They provide very ambiguous basic level because they assume that the DM wants to do that work to make that decision, while we know as a community, most DMs don't have the depth of experience to be confident that the freewheel decisions that they're making aren't going to end up blowing up in their face 15, 20 sessions from now when they realize none of this shit is working out the way that I expected to. I'm having logic conflicts, and now I'm trying to figure out how to fix it. Like, so if you have good, stable rulings that can scale, then you can always stay inside of your scale, which is like the combat mechanics I have for the Spelljammer system, to be able to move between 5 and 1 mile space when you're working with fleets and squadrons. That's a good example of how scaling is necessary so that you can gauge the scale of a space conflict that you're having. This is the same thing. So I think we can get away with a garden separate from and we'll drop it down. So settlements, and we had the text up there for settlements. So settlements equal, maybe we do it like this. Increase the rank in one order, harvest, maintain. Harvest equals produce animal, material, and plant, mineral. Or plant materials for crafting. Each material requires a separate So I could have a settlement that has like 2 points in harvesting to be able to accommodate food for like 1,000 people. And I could have like 3 ranks in food. And then I could have like 3 ranks for animal herds, which means I have like a 50-mile radius for us to have buffalo range in. And I have, say, a second rank mineral operation. So I have a small copper mine that requires 1,000 people to be able to export resources from every month. So that would mean I'd have a total population of a rank 3, which could be up to 100,000, up to 10,000 people in a town, with a small farming community, a decent sized ranching community, and a nearby copper mine, all of which could fit inside of a 50-mile radius. That actually does jive. Now the problem I'm having is I'm trying to get the garden to curve into the settlement. So maybe we can have the garden, let's see, craft, harvesting. Okay, so crafting is craft non-magical stuff, requiring plant materials, and we're going to leave the garden specifically plants, because now that we're establishing settlements as a place you can harvest animal materials, then we would basically, like the pig farm, for example, that would be part of a first rank settlement. It would be a homestead in the settlement that's producing pigs. That in-home settlement, it's that homestead would be a example of a bastion inside of the garden, but if the pig farm was large enough to feed a lot of people, then it would become more of a pasture affair. But if it's small enough to take care of yourself and your family, then it would be smaller scale. So can I bridge that gap? So the first gap that we have is crafting, which is create potions and stuff. Garden is craft, harvest. No, we had empowering on there. Let's go back up to our list. Garden, craft, harvest, maintain. Didn't we have empowerment magic items? No, there was no. Ooh, no, wait. Yeah, there was potions. So, do we want potions? Do we want gardens to be limited to only non-magical potions? No, because you can make healing potions here. So that does allow it, which means we can technically scale up into empowering. So crafting, empowering, harvesting, maintaining. Yeah. Empower, harvest, maintain. Craft, crafting non-magical stuff. Empower, 1 to 5, empowering potions. So let's take this back to Murph. Here. Garden, craft, empower, harvest, maintain. Thank you. And let's add another empowerment to the list. So a lot of empowerment. Like garden, I could see stripping away empowerment, but if you could do it in the DMG, I want you to be able to do it in this supplement as well. The DMG is like super hyper focused, limited options, very snippet ideas. Like this is they're like these are ideas of stuff that you can do, but they don't give you any rules beyond that. This is giving us the rules that allow you to do the stuff in the DMG, but we want you to be able to do more than what's listed in the DMG, because the DMG is supposedly only providing examples for you to build off of. So we want to supplant that with a system that the examples they provide exist inside of the ecology of each facility that we create. That's the necessity. So crafting basic stuff, empowering some limited magic items, that works as well. Maintain order. We gain ranks to maintain, but it doesn't specifically. Maybe that's what the maintain order is. Is maintaining. No, because you have to maintain the help for food supplies, and then harvest. We'll go with harvest equals. Let's see. Harvest food and harvest materials, harvest plant, harvest, let's just go with plant materials to craft food and drink for the bastion. And if we can build a scaffold out of that, rank, size, population, and then DC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gotta have it. DC 10 is standard, 15. And then when I finish this chart, I'm gonna have to go for the day, but we'll be back tomorrow, tomorrow around the same time. So we're looking at populations here. What we're looking at, 10, 40. I feel that's too far too fast. Let's see. It can't be 100 because then we're pushing into the scale of settlements. That's the constraint that we're dealing with. We want to operate at a scale significantly smaller than the population. If I had 25 resources, I'd have a 5th rank facility. I could have up to 5 resources and 5 of them. 5 times 9 is 45 plus some. It could just be that simple of doing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Let's go with that for now. So a 5th rank building facility like a small private garden. 50 people per season. Okay, maybe we can do that. DC 30. The size of the facility is going to be what? Roomy. Let's go with that. Harvest equals harvest, let's see, harvesting plant materials to craft food and drink for the Bastion. Rank, size, population, DC. And then we can go for larger populations, a settlement. For larger populations, the Bastion must be requires a harvesting from a settlement. And the lowest ranked settlement starts with 100. So that jumps from 5th rank building structure, being able to do a population of 50 people they could feed, to jumping to a settlement, the minimum settlement size being able to feed a population of 100 people. I think that's a smooth enough transition that I can at least get away from it now. It's at least structured enough for me to be able to noodle on further from there. So let's take that settlement and let's drop it down here. I think we already have word. No, we don't have any words about settlements yet. That's perfect. So we drop in the settlement, order, harvest, maintain. Let's go up to our list of, we already have settlement in here, I think. Yep, harvest, maintain. What am I missing? Harvest and maintain. Yeah, those are the only two. And we have a settlement. Harvest and maintain. 1 with an asterisk. Yeah, I think that's okay. That's close enough for now. We can use that to pin, and then as we dive further into the document, lock more stuff down, we can see if there's a more sensible way to bridge that gap. But that feels fair. So let's go ahead and let that hang like that. And let's see. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to be today. Armory, barracks, gaming hall, gardens. Otherwise, it just fits in the normal pattern. Harvest equals harvest plant material to craft food and drink for the Bastion. The minimum size required and DC is determined. The size of the rank and size of the garden determines the number of the population that can be fed. That's horrible language, but we'll use it. The rank and size of the garden determines the population. So rank, roomy, 2, roomy. Yeah, More people, more difficult, more space. Same space, more efficient, higher skill. Again, 3 ranks inside of the same vast room space. Larger population requires a higher DC, which requires a higher level of proficiency of the workers in the Bastion to be able to maintain that level of population. You have to have really efficient gardens to do that, such as Topola's Hanging Gardens. I think that works. Yeah, I think it's good enough. So let's see, what's the next thing we're going to work on? We just figured out gaming hall, garden. Next one's going to be greenhouse. So we're going to drop in the greenhouse. I do not have time to work on greenhouse right now. I've got to boot scoot back to my job. So I'm going to, let's go ahead and put greenhouse in here for now. When we're back tomorrow afternoon, we will start in on the greenhouse. Let's start here. Cool, that's it for now. This is a slow process. We'll eventually get through all 30 of these that we have, and then we'll see where our gaps are, what we need to fill in to have a complete list of all the ideas and things that we want to be able to do with it. And then we'll iron out the details. We'll be able to separate between this is a facility thing versus this is like a separate order thing, or like all the orders that we have above get folded into these facilities as separate action, as separate orders. I think we're getting there. We're probably going to end up coming up with clever titles for all of the, like, for the greenhouse, like for the garden. Like instead of calling it harvest, like we'll probably call it like private garden. Like private, private garden equals harvest action equals provide food, food and drink for the Bastion hirelings. And guests. That's probably how we're going to end up breaking this down. Something like that. And like, not apothecary, medicinal. What would it be? Herbalist garden equals, there you go. And then food garden, maybe like that. Vegetable garden, of course. Vegetable garden. There. I'm getting pinged. So I'm going to bounce out of here, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks a lot for playing. I'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot.